hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We all kind of stayed off social media for a little while. I worked a little bit, but we stayed off our posting for a little while just to heal and have some time together. The day before Thanksgiving, so Wednesday, we went down to Lincoln for our eval. We're still waiting for everything to come back with that. It was actually a much more extensive evaluation than we were expecting. The doctor actually kind of went through both my childhood, my fiance's childhood, and then Ashlyn's as well. And we're making sure we hit every aspect that we need to get development with, and anything that we need to start, beginning like therapy treatment with, not just like the counseling therapy, but, like speech therapy, social therapy, anything for Ashlyn as far as those go. So we're very excited for that. I know a lot of people have been asking me, what's next, what prompted me to get us, evaluated in the first place. Well, there's been actually quite a bit of things. With Ashlyn specifically, ever since she was a baby, I've noticed something was always, off about her. And I don't mean that rudely, but I just always noticed that the behaviors that I noticed, like Ashlyn would throw fits, for example. And I noticed the behaviors were just not... It was not an average child. I've been around children my whole life. I raised my siblings. I've, been involved in cousins and working in a daycare, and just my nieces and nephews, and then Ashlyn's brother. I've been around a lot of kids, basically, not a lot of newborns necessarily, that I can remember at least. I was a child. But, I just always knew that it was just not just average behavior. There was just something more. It was just to the next level, for lack of better words. What, now I know is called overstimulation. So at the time, that's what I had noticed was off, she just was always at the next level with her behavior. She just could never calm down. She was just always upset, and, her quote unquote toddler tantrums, they were starting at 9 months old, much younger also. Just all of the toddler behaviors that people kept saying, oh, just wait, ignore, just wait, that's average. It's not just the average child that I've been around. Behind closed doors, it was very overwhelming. Even going in public, we can hardly take her out in public because big crowds or large crowds, big crowds, or lots of lights and sound, it just becomes very overwhelming. So those are things I've noticed in her. Also, her sleep was very off. She would sleep maybe 4 hours at night. She would sleep sometimes 8 hours at night. We went from August, be nice. We went from co-sleeping, and we broke co-sleeping at about 9 months old, to her sleeping totally fine on her own for a couple months, and then slowly it started to regress. And it just became a horrific time trying to get Ashlyn to bed at night. Even now, it's still a horrible time trying to get her to bed. We spend 2+ hours at night getting her down, and she'll lay down, and then if the smallest sound wakes her up, my child is awake and will not go back to bed. You can say she has insomnia, but in a 2-year-old, almost 2-year-old, and even younger, that's not normal behavior. Her pediatrician, when I would bring up the attachment with mom and the cluster nursing, because that was another thing, is we were nursing still, and I could never get her to eat. So basically all of her behaviors, I would point out to her doctor from even 9 months old, and be nice, please. And they just kept telling me, ignore it, she's fine. Or they would literally say, you're doing this to your daughter. Family, friends, doctors, everyone kept saying that I was doing this to my child, that I needed to stop breastfeeding, stop co-sleeping. I needed to put her in daycare. I needed to stop being around my baby. But I noticed there's something off about her. And I didn't trust just anybody watching her. You have your instincts. As a parent, you have your parent gut. It's not just a mom gut, because there are dads out there that have that too, and they deserve that respect. You just have your parent gut. You know yourself and your child better than anybody else. And if you just think that your child needs extra care, go get them the extra care. Stop putting labels on it. It doesn't matter if your child has, Down syndrome, autism, just a limp, whatever developmental issue it is. Yes, I understand some are much more extensive than others. So no, I'm not comparing them at all. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, instead of labeling and worrying about the labels, just take the step and get them the eval, or, just get them looked at, for lack of better words. Don't be afraid. Make that choice for your child, because you would hate to have your kid grow up and you ignore what could have been done and them have problems later on. For instance, me as an adult and my fiance, not that our parents ignored our behaviors, because after doing lots more research, I've been noticing it's not necessarily our parents' faults. All of us that are at my age or even older, some even younger than me, but the biggest issue what I'm getting at is people go by the books, and you can't just keep following the books. Doctors can't just keep following the books. We have so much more information that's been brought to the world as far as the environmental factors, and things aren't just by genetics anymore. And we all know that we're putting chemicals in our bodies. There's chemicals in the air. I mean, you're surrounded by them. You go outside and you get cancer from the sun. So, you just have to take care of yourself and not worry about what other people think and that label. So just go get yourself and your family the help you need. Piss on everybody else what they have to think is what I have to say. And so I guess with our next steps with that as adults, me and my fiance, we do struggle going out in public. It's hard for us sometimes to work. I now don't work at all. Not that I'm proud to say that, but I'm having a good day today. There are days where I cannot get out of bed. I'm chronically anxious. I get so overstimulated. I literally, my head's running and I want to talk, but my mouth won't open. I have my tantrums like a child does, August, you guys got to play nice. Give him his bone. Be nice. And when people say animals aren't smart, I mean, you just saw that. I just had to look at him and talk to him, where he heard I was upset and he's already right here calming me down. This dog has been the biggest blessing ever. So highly recommend emotional support animals, guys. I mean, we ended that, and maybe that's just time to tell me it's time to end this. So as adults, if you guys are feeling overly anxious, your depression is something that you've noticed isn't just a depression thing. Like, there are chronic highs and lows when your brain is overly stressed, and then it's going down, and then it's going up, and it's going down. You're going to have chemical imbalances. That's what mental health issues are. They're chemical imbalances in our brain. Whether you're bipolar, whether you're OCD, anxious, ADHD, ADD, we're labeling. That's all it is. These are developmental, neurological, and mental health, imbalances or unwiring, what I like to say, because I don't like to be rude about it. We're human, so let's take care of our bodies and let's be human and stop looking at people poorly for getting themselves the care they need. Quit being selfish and intentionally putting people down. If somebody is literally doing good, what in the world puts that in your nature to want to be negative to them? That it's ignorant. It's beyond ignorant on your own part to put somebody down for doing good. Even if you disagree with what they're doing, if you think somebody's not educated with the process they're doing, if they're doing good, take that to your initiative to educate them yourself. But you don't have to be rude about it. There's so many things I'd rather say, but you can't be rude about it. So I'm excited to share with you guys here in just a second, a great experience that we just had that kind of puts me in this cheery mood. Anytime I have really horrific things happen in our lives, in our home, a lot of good ends up coming out of it shortly after. And it's hard to not sit and dwell on the bad sometimes, but as soon as you get yourself in that dwelling, it's very hard to get out. So my best advice to anybody is, when you start to notice yourself off or things off in your house or in your life, or if you already notice it, or if you notice somebody else needs the care, be a human and step up. This world is never going to change until we all step up and make the change. You have to be the change you want to see in this world. And I'm not going to stop until I see it happen. And I might be one person, my family might be just one family, but we won't stop until we see that change. We won't stop till we see kindness and we're just here to educate people and help share our story, to see if anybody else is in the same place as us. We've been struggling for so long. Before we met each other, we were struggling individually. And, even as a mom, I was struggling individually with my daughter. And as a couple, when we very first met, we were still, in our own lives individually trying to take care of what we had to. But we realized, you can't just do it alone anymore. You have to have support there. You have to have people there in your corner to build you up. And it's very hard when all you have are things tearing you down to want to keep going up. For the longest time, people kept sitting there yelling at me saying, take care of yourself, go to the hospital, go get counseling, eat, your daughter needs you. Okay, well, you guys are all being selfish. I get it. But if I can't be there for myself, to hear people constantly tell me, well, you're doing it wrong, guys, you're just putting me further down. Not just me, but anybody. Like, I'm not saying a sob story. You don't see me sitting here looking like I'm sobbing, but I have. And there are probably humans in your life and other people in your life that are literally sitting there sobbing daily, minute by minute. They're probably sobbing through their smiles and they're fighting it back. But be there for them. Just open your mouth and open it with good, and stop flooding this world with negativity. I get it, we all have bad days, but that is no reason to go and literally take it out on somebody just for your own spite. It's sick, it's wrong, and at this point, you actually can be held accountable by the law. If you guys don't realize it, if you follow along any of what I'm going through, I have been getting the law involved in a lot of what I've been going through simply because it's to the point where the law has to get involved. People need to understand enough is enough, and you have to stand up for yourself and be your own advocate. And I'm not doing the wrong things, because if I was making the wrong steps, I would not have people in my corner supporting me and helping me out to make sure that good is being done. So, sorry guys for taking your time. Thank you for everybody that took the time to watch this, and even the other video that I recorded. Thank you for every step of the way that you guys have been supporting us, watching them. Keep sharing our page, share our videos. All I want to do is educate the world, and same with my family. We have had so much fate and blessings happen to us. I don't even know what words I want to use. I'm still trying to expand my vocabulary. We just have had so much amazing things happen in our lives. And for people that were non-believers before, I just want you guys to understand there's so much good in this world. And while I still have people trying to tear me down every second of the day, I still have so much good coming towards me, and I will not let the bad overcome my life anymore. And for those of you watching this that are the bad that are coming at me, stop wasting your time. You're not doing anything. I have so much to look forward to, and I have my family to keep being there for, and it's just a dust in the wind at this point. So thank you guys, and bless everybody.